Hi, I'm Mike, owner of the In-Groove in Phoenix, Arizona. Time to do a special record find video. And this isn't actually a find that I found. This is something that kind of happened last week. So I'm in the shop, and one of my regulars, another fellow jazz buff comes in, doing a little shopping, leaves, comes back an hour later, and I saw him like walking in the store, and I thought to myself, that's weird. I wonder what happened. He's never come back, back to, he comes in every couple of weeks. Why is he here? Why is he here a couple hours later? He comes in, he's like, Mike, you're not going to believe what I found. You're not going to believe. You're not going to believe it. I'm like, okay, what do you got? He goes, I'm going to bring you in a crate. So he brings in a crate of records that he found at a local record store here. Not mine, because that would be crazy, but if it was, but it wouldn't make it past my office. So he brings this crate, and inside of this crate is nothing but the most stone mint, unplayed 50s jazz records, original Blue Notes, Art Pepper's first album on beautiful red wax, beautiful Art Pepper, beautiful, it's just prestige titles, contemporary titles, mind-boggling. And it was wildly underpriced. They were taking mint Art Pepper records that are, you never find, and pricing them Discogs median. What? This is like unheard of. So he showed me this crate, and I'm like, did you buy it all? He goes, no, there's some stuff that I had dupes of, some stuff. They have a Miles Davis cooking 50th Street for $500. I'm like, what? $500? I mean, that's like a $1,500 record in near mint shape for an original 50th Street. I'm like, $500? I'm like, where? Tell me. So this was, I think it was Saturday. Store's packed, Angel's there. I'm yelling at my wife, honey, gotta go to a record store. She's like looking at me like, giving me the stink eye, like, you can't leave on a Saturday, and I'm waving out the door. I'm taking your car. She's got the little tiny sport car. Weave that in and out of traffic quicker. I shoot over there, and what I found is out of this world. I'm not going to save all the good stuff till the end. I'm going to show you all the good stuff right at the beginning. Right off the bat with the 50th Street cooking. The Miles Davis Quintet, original. First pressing, prestige. And I'll show you a few things that are unique with this collection. First of all, look at the vinyl. I don't know how well that comes in on camera, but do you know how many times this record has been played? One time. Do you know how I know it's been played one time? Because he put the date on every record of when he played it right on the back. Now, I actually haven't had a chance to listen to this yet. But as of now, this was played one time, September 19th, 1957. Oh, two times. He also played it. He put another date over here. He played it the following month, October 57. At first, I thought these are dates when he purchased the record. But then I noticed some records only have one date on it. Some records have a slew of dates on it. But yeah, cooking with the Miles Davis Quintet with the original wax inner. Unbelievable. I actually have a dupe of this. One of them is going on the store website. Great. 50th Street. Unbelievable. So I scoured that store from top to bottom, and I bought every single record from this collection. A lot of schmaltzy stuff, but I bought everything from this collection just because I know how hard it is to find records of this era in this collection. Record that I wasn't familiar with. Unbelievable. Phenomenal record. This is the Duke Pearson Quintet. You look at it and it's like Duke Pearson, Walter Perkins, Bob Crenshaw, stereo, promo copy, This record is so extremely rare. I can't even describe. I think I went on Discogs and I think like 8 people have this record. It is so, so rare. Beautiful near mint copy. Like everything in the collection. Promo stamped on the back. Fantastic. Really a great sounding record too. This is on Jazzline. I think Jazzline had 2 records on its label. The other one is really the winner. The Dave Bailey Sextet. Not a record I was familiar with, but you look at that lineup. Kenny Dorham, Curtis Fuller, Tommy Flanagan, Ben Tucker. Like no-brainer. They had this record for $100. This is stereo. Just unbelievable. Again, a record that is so rare. They just don't. I think I went on a pop psych and I think 10 of these or 12 of these have sold. It's got one date on it, 3/1/62. I did play it. What an exceptionally great sounding recording as well. A record that I had bid on over the summer on eBay. Beautiful copy of Taylor's Wailers. Art Taylor's All-Stars. Great copy. Beautiful cover. First pressing, 50th Street Prestige. Paid $299 for this. Yes, please. Look at that record. Unbelievable. A little bit of wear on the cover. The covers were like VG+. They weren't near mint covers. But it's got one date, 3/6/58. Look at that beautiful 50th Street Prestige. I did play this. It's a record that's been on my want list for a long time. Not one of the more common Prestige titles to find an original of. Analog Productions did reissue this though. Kevin Gray mastered it. Sounds really good. This was another one that he had told me about that was there. The cover's not perfect, but a beautiful contemporary first pressing of Art Pepper meets the rhythm section. Now see, he liked this record because he played this twice. He played this in August of 57 and he played it June 12th of 58. So, yeah. This record got a little more action. This was not a screaming of a deal. This was $3.99. And this is like a real strong VG+. This wasn't in perfect shape. That one had a little more wear to it. Here's a record you don't see very much. This is Art Blakey with Thelonious Monk. Black label, Atlantic. Really nice, really clean. Again, I loaded the better stuff to the beginning here. Sonny Rollins, a ton of contemporary stuff. More than likely, this guy was located on the West Coast. I feel like it would be a lot easier for him to get a lot of the stuff he had on the West Coast as opposed to the East Coast. The contemporary stuff and the West Coast labels he had was pretty prevalent. But Sonny Rollins and the contemporary leaders. Beautiful stereo black label contemporary. Oh yeah, this is a nice one. The Sound of Sonny. I think this was $250. White label Riverside. Again, this one was near mint. $60 for this. They just announced that they were reissuing this as part of the contemporary series. Look at that, Leroy Vinegar. On stereo records, first pressing stereo. The early contemporary records, they weren't actually contemporary records, they were stereo records. In association with contemporary. It was their sub-label. They actually called the label Stereo Records. Later on, they changed it to contemporary and then just made a stereo and mono. Look at this. Randy Weston Trio, Jazz a la Bohemia. Original Riverside. Beautiful shape. Got an OJC of this recently. Don't have an original of that. Well, I do now. Something that you never ever see. Now, I've got a copy, but nowhere near in this condition. Chet Baker and his crew on Pacific Jazz. This cover actually has about a 6-inch seam split. But I have never, this was $60 by the way, I've never seen a near mint Chet Baker record from the 50s on Pacific. Never seen it. Playboys and Chet Sings have been on my want list for 15 years. I've never found a clean enough copy to buy. Or I've always been late to the party. This has got a date on it, 4/9/57. Beautiful. Spectacular find. And Chet Baker stuff you want to be clean. Oh man, look at this. In the Harold Land. Harold in the Land of Jazz. Original mono contemporary. I think that was $100. That was actually, some of these were in like the blues section. They were hidden. You know, the people putting these things away didn't know what half of them were. Jazz in a Stable. This is the first record on Transition. Transition TRLP1. Not familiar with the record, but look at that cover. They're literally like jamming out. There's a drummer hanging out in a stable with a horse. I've got the Doug Watkins, the Donald Byrd. I've got the Sunrise. I've got the big ones on Transition. Now, there's some of the smaller ancillary titles I'm missing. Now I got Jazz in a Stable. Not the cleanest. This isn't of the category of the rest of his stuff. Chet Baker and Strings. The first Chet Baker record on the maroon Columbia label with the Hi-Fi Plus sticker on the jacket. This is a VG Plus record. Paper scuffing. VG, real strong VG on side. VG Plus. I'd probably rate this conservatively a VG, but extremely playable. 1A pressing, 1A. Actually, oddly enough, it's 1A on both sides. Yeah. I've had this record come into the store from time to time, always trashed, completely unplayable. No point in even putting it in my collection. There was some later stuff in there. Miles Davis in person, Columbia 6i. A beautiful stereo Legrand Jazz in mono. Not a huge Herbie Mann fan. This is on New Jazz, but this has Mal Waldron and Kenny Burrell on it. Original Deep Groove New Jazz. Again, a lot of Art Pepper. Art Pepper plus 11. He saw this, but passed on it because he had most of the Art Pepper contemporary stuff. Miles Davis, 7 Steps to Heaven. Columbia 2i. This is an extremely hard record to find clean. I've not been able to find a clean one to this day. Someday my prince will come. This is, I think this was $40, $50. Yeah, near mint. 1A pressing, Columbia 6i. This is great. I'm gonna kick just going over this. It's like, I feel like Scrooge McDuck digging around my money bin. I'm just having such a joyous time going through these. This was actually more money than some of these other ones, but it was so clean, it's still worth it. $50. Dave Brubeck's Timeout. Columbia 6i. Yeah, and just near mint, beautiful shape. 2A. That's a 2A pressing. Yeah, it was just $50, no brainer. Chet Baker, Riverside, Lerner and Lowe. Now, this cover is a little jacked up, oddly enough. Taped up, has a bend in it. I have a better cover on mine, but this is, I definitely don't have a better record. So we're going to do the old switcheroo there and make a better copy for myself. Crazy. Bill Perkins, Just Friends. Art Pepper and Richie Kamuka. This is on Pacific Jazz. Some more contemporary Art Pepper. Getting Together. The gentleman that told me about this got a beautiful Art Pepper on Tampa. He got a beautiful copy of Surf Rider. It just looked like it was made yesterday. The cover was beautiful. Miles Davis, Porky and Bess. Columbia 6i. And then I started picking up. Now we're getting to some more of the cheaper titles, but in this condition, stuff I couldn't leave. Like you just don't see. Look at this, Mel Torme on Bethlehem, beautiful near mint copy, vinyl wise. Couldn't leave it there. West Coast Sound, Shelly Manne and His Men, Volume 1 on Contemporary. Terry Gibbs on Emercy. Again, every single thing from the collection, and you could tell because he put his initials on the back corner, I bought. Lush Life, 4 horns and a Lush Life. Jimmy Rainey on ABC Paramount. Jimmy Lunsford on Decca. Earl Gardner. I mean, again, it was just super clean. You don't find these maroon Columbia pressings in good shape. Cal Tjader on Red Wax Fantasy. Mill Hinton, East Coast Jazz, number 5. Some of these I'm going to listen to, and if it's something that I don't dig, I'll bring it to the shop. Jazz City Workshop on Bethlehem. Jerry Mulligan Sextet on Emercy. A lot of Jerry Mulligan. Columbia 6i. Like I said, this is something I just bought. Electronic process stereo, but I bought it anyways. Miles Davis at Carnegie Hall. That's early 2i. Claude Williamson Trio on Capitol. I bought it all. I figured if I overpaid for one, it didn't matter. I made up for it 10 times over on some of the better titles. Jerry Mulligan on Pacific Jazz. The Modern Art of Jazz by Zoot Sims. I actually have a copy of this. It's just not this clean. Look at that. Beautiful. More Swinging Sounds, Shelly Manne and His Men. Volume 5. Beautiful Ahmad Jamal Trio. But Not For Me. Contemporary Howard Rumsey's Lighthouse All-Stars. Lighthouse at Laguna. Sonny Stitt plays arrangements from the pen of Quincy Jones on Royal Roost. Shelly Manne and His Men on Gambit. The Gambit on Contemporary. Some more Mel Torme. Love Mel Torme. I love his singing. On Bethlehem. And I actually have that same Lacoste blue shirt. Metronome All-Stars, 1956. Ella Fitzgerald there. Count Basie in the picture. Shelly Manne and His Men. Some more contemporary stuff. A lot of Shelly Manne, a lot of contemporary. Like I said, this collection was really West Coast heavy. J.J. Johnson, Kai Winding. Columbia 6i. This was really bizarre. I have a feeling I grabbed this one by mistake. Yeah, this wasn't part of the same collection, but while I was there, I just happened to find this late 60s pressing of Milt Jackson, Plenty Soul, but it was like $8 or something, so I bought it anyways. Really nice cover, really good shape, but it's a late 60s pressing, early 70s. Bill Russo on Atlantic, black label. Really cool cover. Harold Rumsey, Lighthouse All-Stars, Music for Light Housekeeping. Cool cover, hanging out on the old fire hydrant. Johnny Richards on Bethlehem. This was like $3 an afternoon at Birdland on Vic. Ooh, this is actually a good record. I listened to this in the store. Man, this record's awesome. Cohen at the saxophone. Ossie Johnson, Milt Hinton, Hank Jones. Really good record on Dawn. Cool cover, but that was a really fun record. Another great record. I think Speaker's Corner might have did this, Our Pure Pleasure. Stan Levy, Grandstand on Bethlehem. Bud Shank, Shorty Rogers on Pacific Jazz. Earl Garner, Gone, Gonest. Red Label Columbia. Shorty Rogers and his Giants. Martians Come Back. Look at that. Look at that cover. It's great. Forget about the music. That cover is worth hanging on the wall. I've actually had that record in the past, just never in good shape. K and JJ, Kai Winding. Again, the JJ Johnson Quintet, Columbia 6i. I'm Wild Again, Francis Faye on Bethlehem. Again, some of this stuff, like, I'm not familiar with this record, but I want to hear what this guy was listening to. This guy obviously clearly had good taste. Typically, you don't find, again, I didn't even get the best stuff of this collection. I was number 2, and actually this stuff, I think, had been sitting there for a week. So God knows what must have been in this collection. Earl Gardner, Mambo Moves. This is real cool. Art Farmer. Brass Shout. Some more Lighthouse All-Stars, Volume 6. The Swingin' Mr. Rogers, Shorty Rogers, and his Giant, Black Label Atlantic. Some real clean Chris Connor. Jack Montrose Sextet. This is Red Pacific Jazz. Red Wax. Let's skim through the rest of these. Some more Terry Gibbs. Some more Chris Connor on Atlantic. Shelly Man and His Men plays Peter Gunn. This is actually a really good record. I listened to it and enjoyed it. This is Jazz Rolls Royce on a mega disc. Arranged by Montrose on Pacific Jazz. Johnny Mandel's great jazz score, I Wanna Live, on United Artists. Art Farmer, Modern Art. This one I got, and you can see here, he actually liked this record because he played it 4 times. Aspects, Benny Carter. Some more Pacific Jazz. The Bud Shank Quartet. And Pacific Jazz, Bud Shank Quartet in concert. Jazz at Caltech. Never seen this record before. But I figured I'd show you this. It wasn't even something that walked into my store. But as a whole, this collection must really been something. So I guess this stuff is still out there. I've never really had... I've had great jazz collections come into the store, but I've never had this much concentration of near mint 50s records and this many high caliber pieces come into the store before. I mean, this was off the chain. And if you've seen the crate from the other gentleman, holy cow, it was fantastic. But so many of these I'll be able to add to my collection. But some of these are going to make its way to the store. You know, I have it cooking. I don't have the Taylor's Whalers. Some of those records I didn't even know existed. But it's great to be able to just keep finding new things, you know. New old things. All right, guys, check us out online at theungroove.com. Until next time.